from Pix 11 News, fight gender norms. Now, I haven't seen this, but I can only imagine they're about to double down on the agenda and tell you to ignore everything you've learned throughout your life, I guess, depending on how old you are. But we've seen several stories just in the past couple days that the agenda is never going to stop, certainly not in California, right? That's supposed to be the bastion of liberalism, but there's nonstop stories about how a racist restaurant receipt infuriated a customer. None of it makes any sense. And this is them grasping at straws, throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to get something to stick, but it's over. And they keep doing this, which I guess works for them. They get paid for it, but it's so embarrassing. Nobody is on board with this. Go through the comments on YouTube, go through their Twitter, and you will see 95% of people highly critical of this nonsense, but they keep going anyways. Either way, my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
It would help me a lot and cost you nothing, but if you wanted to help me a tiny bit more and spend a little bit of money, you would buy my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued, on Amazon.com. That link will be in the description.
All right, well, men and women are conditioned from birth to think and behave a certain way.
Yeah, some beliefs have a positive impact.
Wait. Are they conditioned, or is that just the way that humans act?
On society, while others...
Or perhaps you're attempting to do the conditioning, right? People have natural inclinations that you are trying to remove.
may hold back some.
Yeah, Cara Lowenthal is a feminist coach and author of the New York Times bestseller, Take Back Your Brain. And she joins us now to explain how to get what she calls sexist society out of your head. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Okay, this woman, this carbon-based life form who may or may not be a woman.
I'm a transgender woman. My pronouns are she, her.
Is a New York Times bestseller. We obviously know that's fake. But this person, this, carbon-based calorie individual wants you to know that there's no difference between a man and a woman, and you should fight the gender norms. Now, why would she do that? Why would she want to blur the lines between men and women?
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's jump in. In your book, you talk about something called brain gap. What is it?
So the brain gap is the gap between how we often want to think and feel and how we actually think and feel.
Okay.
So when you think about when we're born, we know almost nothing, right? We are like instinctively, we can nurse, we can cry, that's kind of it. Mm-hmm. And then we learn everything else from society.
Yeah. Who do you nurse on or from or with? You're not going to mention that?
Around us, like who is valuable or important for what reason, or what we're supposed to be like based on who we are. And that happens across gender lines, race lines, religion lines, like all different kinds of identities, right? Mm-hmm. And so men and women receive different messages about who they're supposed to be or what is valuable about them as they're growing up. So for instance, girls will be told that they are so pretty, so kind, so nice and helpful,
Demure.
right? Demure. And not in the fun new way of demure, right? Demure has really been taken back.
Yes.
And boys might hear more like, oh, you're so strong, or you're so tough, right?
Brave.
Yeah, and so like the social messaging is stereotypical for both genders. For all genders, it's not good or bad. And so you end up...
Both genders or all genders? I mean, this is crazy. I can't... You would probably have to stop this every second this woman speaks and just, lambast one of her weirdo talking points. But yes, people are born a certain way. And you want to talk about, you're the one, okay, just at its most basic level, you guys are the ones doing the conditioning. People are born the way they are, and they're going to think the way they think, and hopefully they have good parents. Maybe they don't. Maybe their parents are don't. Who knows? Who knows what's really going on? But you can't pretend that the entirety of society for the last however many thousands of years is the one conditioning people. That's just how most people were brought up. You're the one trying to condition them into another way of this weirdo thinking.
Up with this gap of I want to believe that I'm, let's say, brave, but maybe I'm not.
So let's put that into play then. Let's talk about one way in which men and women are socialized differently. What is one example when it comes to our clothes?
Yeah, so I think that women are more socialized to attach their self-worth to their weight and their size and their shape. Now, you guys are in a very visual medium, so...
You think that because you're huge, so you are, now obviously a slimmer woman is a little bit more attractive, but how on earth are you going to pretend that this has nothing to do with this lady's enormous being?
It may not be a representative sample, but in general, right, what we find is that, for instance, you wake up, you put on a pair of pants and they're too tight. For a man, more likely just be like, oh, that's annoying. I guess I got to get new pants, or let me just change, right? And for a woman, it's then all day in her head like, oh no, did I gain weight? Like,
That's you.
does this not fit? Does it look unprofessional? Do I look not attractive today? Feeling guilty about what she ate yesterday. So that's just one example of how this gap can happen.
So I hear you, and I'm listening to you, and I hear that I'm a woman based inside.
Because we had the same answer.
TV. Well, you are in TV.
Because I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I eat last night?
It could also, like you said, have a lot to do about your environment. Because I was raised around strong black women who were very curvy. So if your pants were a little tight, you're like, oh, I'm looking good, girl. We getting thick in the right places, you know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, I was raised not to focus on getting married and having kids. Like, I was raised to focus on my career. But your parents aren't the only influence on you, right? So you're still watching all the movies where, like, the main character in the romantic comedy looks one way and, like, the sassy sidekick looks another way, right? And, like, you're still absorbing all of that. So I still felt insecure about my dating life, even though, you know, my parents had never told me, like, you need to get married.
all right, let's dive deeper into another example involving parenthood. How are men and women different on that?
Yeah, so I think that, and I should also, of course, these things I think we hope are changing in the right direction, but society doesn't change that fast. So
These things are changing in the right direction.
I think that women are more socialized to believe that being married and being a mother is like a core part of their life that they need to achieve, but also that to believe that it might conflict with their career, whereas men don't get that same socialization. So if we did a like pop quiz right now, raise your hand if you worry that having a family is going to impact your career advancement or make it harder for you to get ahead in your career. Right. So that's a big difference, right? Because women get that different messaging that you have to be like the perfect mom, but also be able to fully work a full-time job.
And
like you're not
take
parenting.
care of home and kids.
Right. And men, it's more like, oh, it'll be a benefit. I'll be a dad. That'll be nice. And they're not
It's like
worried.
the title, but not the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody ever said that. What you just made that up. That the fathers want the title but not the responsibility. Now, I'm not here to say that every father is taking responsibility, but I don't think anybody across political lines, race, culture, whatever, has ever said that, yeah, well, men, you know, they love the title, but they don't actually want to take care of the kids. Nobody is saying that should ever be the case.
I feel attacked.
It's never personal, right?
No,
it's just
no,
what the
no.
social systems have created for us.
Okay, so now that we know how society has shaped what we think, how do we take back our brain?
What is society, bro? What are you talking about? Society is people as a collective. Like, society didn't do anything. You created the society, right? For thousands of years, we have created the norms. It's not like just some random thing in the ether tells you that you need to think one way. It's thousands of years of humans, of which all of us are, right? Like, it's the same thing with government. They pretend like, well, you know, the government's just going to pay for it. Like the government is just this amorphous blob. No, it's made up of people. People created that. And you want to pretend that it's something else foisted upon you?
Yes, this is so important. This is what I talk about in the book, is we need to, number one, become...
This is assuming you have one.
Yeah. Become aware that that is happening, right? A lot of it we're not even conscious of. It's a subconscious. And then we have to actually change our thinking, right? And a lot of what's out there is not effective because it's telling people...
Why? Why would you change your thinking? What are you talking about?
People to try to believe things that they just don't believe. So if you get to like positive thinking, it's a subconscious. And then we have to actually change our thinking, right? And a lot of what's out there is not effective because it's telling people to try to believe things that they just don't believe. So if you get to like positive...
You made that up. You are saying that people are thinking things that they don't believe. You made that assumption.
Thinking, you're just trying to believe something beautiful and perfect, it doesn't work. You need to focus on thoughts that are actually believable to you so you can actually change how you think.
All right. Well, Cara, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
This is absolutely crazy. And to think that this carbon-based life form is a New York Times bestseller. She's doing news hits to try to convince you that you need to fight gender norms. It makes absolutely no sense. And it's crazy to me that this has even become an industry at all.